But at some point, the math is the math. And
I think we can do a better job using that information.
it reinforces my belief that I have the best constituents.
Thank you, Councilmember Flanagan, for doing such a great job of representing us in District 6.
Jimmy is real, he's honest, and he really pays attention to his constituents.
The first opportunity I had to meet Councilmember Flanagan, it was a very hot summer day. I could see a gentleman approaching me, but better yet, talking to neighbors, passing out flyers. He has door tags, and all of a sudden I saw him and I'm like, well, what are you doing? For anybody that would do this in the middle of a Texas summer heat, definitely has my vote. This is someone that you need and that we want within our district representing us at City Hall.
Thank you, Councilmember Flanagan, for never being afraid to speak your mind and standing up for what makes Austin the best city in America. I'm pretty sure he could end COVID-19 himself if he had the resources.
Election because he's a progressive that has worked hard to deal with the issues that we face out here in District 6. What some people think of as the outlying areas, an often forgotten part of the city of Austin. Jimmy's worked hard to remind the other members on the city council that we exist out here and to ensure that we have equal access to things, city amenities, like libraries.
I am a District 6 resident and a small business owner. Jimmy has a fire to be our voice and lead us for the next 4 years. His message is clear: work on real solutions to real problems.
We're supporting Councilmember Flanagan for re-election because he's a tireless advocate for District 6 residents.
I'm supporting Jimmy Flanagan for re-election because I've seen all the positive change that he's championed, and I'm really excited to continue the work that we're doing together.
Not only is Jimmy one of the most hardworking people I know, he's also super smart, wicked funny, a creative problem solver, and he stands up for what's right. Go Jimmy!
Thank you, Councilmember Flanagan, for always being supportive of the Asian American community. You're one of the most approachable elected officials I know, proven to be quite efficient and creative in resolving issues in the community. We're lucky to have you as our council member in District 6.
Jimmy has a proven track record of working with other council members on issues important to residents of District 6, such as transportation and economic development. In addition, Jimmy has shown that diversity and inclusion are important to him when making nominations and appointments to city committees.
Hey everyone, it's State Representative John Busey from House District 136, including all of the Williamson County part of the City of Austin. I'm excited to continue to support my good friend and neighbor, Councilmember Jimmy Flanagan. From his leadership on public safety and traffic, to ensuring Northwest Austin has a voice in every policy discussion and budget decision, Jimmy is a true public servant delivering results for our families. Join me in making sure Jimmy gets 4 more years to keep working for us at City Hall. Go to jimmyflanagan.com to donate and sign up to volunteer. Tell your friends and neighbors about this race and to vote all the way down the ballot. Now let's get to work.
Hello, District 6. Hello, Austin. Hello, Clawback viewers. Thanks to all of my constituents and for Representative Busey for participating in the video. Let me get my, there we go. There's my little overlay up there. That was a video we produced for our campaign kickoff that we held, I guess, a week and a half ago. Are y'all having as much trouble keeping track of time and what day it is? I am definitely lost. Every day is in my little home office studio here. So I'm having a hard time keeping track of the moments. But again, thanks to everyone who helped produce that video. We'll have more of those coming out later. So we took the last 2 weeks off of the clawback. And, you know, things have not gotten better when it comes to the pandemic. Things have gotten a lot worse. So, you know, the mayor has his Got a Minute show, and he does that on a regular basis, putting out some really good information on the pandemic. I'm going to bring up the dashboards so that we can talk about that a little bit as well. Let me see if I can get this here. Boom. Okay, I think that's showing what I want to show. So austintexas.gov/COVID-19, and you can see all of the voluminous information that is provided on the public health crisis that we are in. Here is the, oh, it's probably not switching to that tab, is it? Okay, let me switch over to that tab. Let me do it this way. All right, here's the dashboard showing, I mean, just look at the new cases reported per day. I mean, obviously some big stuff happening in June, and now here we are in record numbers of new cases. But it just seems so quaint to think, 2 months ago, being back in this May space where numbers were fairly flat. The mayor talks about it at great length, but ultimately the governor moving from his phase 1 to his phase 2 and the resulting public reaction and the way that was handled, ultimately, I think is what leads to this rise in cases. But the real challenge that we have, and I'm going to switch to I just want to bring up the other dashboard. So we're putting out as much information as we can, but ultimately there's just a lot of data. So I want to bring up here we go. Here it is, this one. So this is the dashboard that drives at least the city's perspective on what are the rules by which we're going to move through this situation. You can see that we hovered in stage 2 for a long time and then spiked right up through 3 and into 4 and 5, 5 in at least this last week. Now, we have decided, based off of the continuing work of our public health experts and UT researchers, which have been a huge asset to our community, to help make sure that we are looking at the best and most relevant information. We're trying to be as thoughtful as possible with this stage 5 set of restrictions. In a special called meeting yesterday, we increased the enforcement mechanisms. There was a lot of reporting leading up to that meeting that it was going to somehow be a big, ginormous general shutdown. That's not at all what happened. You got to be real careful when you see stuff reported in the news. Go and double check your sources. There's a lot of really challenging information out there. And if you find yourself with a lot of spare time and want another hair-pulling experience, you should go to ATXN TV, ATXN.TV, and you can see the archive of council meetings. You can see yesterday's public testimony, which was eye-opening. There are still folks out there who are telling you that masks don't work, that are telling you that this is somehow a ginormous conspiracy. This is not political. In fact, the governor himself sent a letter to Mayor Adler and the council authorizing the increased enforcement, authorizing everything that we're doing. This is not about left and right. This is about saving lives. And I know the folks who watch this show, the folks who are in District 6, I know we're trying to do our best to stay up with that. That's why I've got, here we go, all right, stay home and mask up. You got to wear your mask if you go outside. And if you're going into a business, if you're going to your HEB, and, can we just please treat our essential workers with some grace and some dignity? I talk about my partner a lot. He works for HEB. He runs checkout at an HEB store. And, most people are doing great. Most people being super cool and wearing their masks and being respectful. But, the governor at least is seemingly asking grocery clerks to now be policemen in telling some of these folks when they walk in without a mask. And when they do it, they're looking for a fight. They're always looking for a fight. At this point, if you're not wearing a mask, you're making a political statement about a thing that is not political. So we can get through this. We can still get through this, y'all. But we got to be really, really thoughtful about how we take care of each other and just wear the damn mask if you're going to leave your house. It is not complicated. And, if your kids are going to parties and stuff, I don't even want to get into it. It's some crazy nonsense. We're just going to have to get through it somehow. We're doing everything we can at the city. Of course, that is not all that is going on because we can't just do one thing at a time in this community. So I want to bring on my first guest, one of my amazing colleagues, maybe low-key my favorite council member who isn't me, the amazing council member for District 1, Natasha Harper-Madison. Hello, council member.
Go on.
Thank you so much for joining my show today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I've been waiting to get all clawed up. Let's do it.
I love it. Well, you had me on your show. You do a live show now too.
I do. Yeah. Talk with Tasha. We do it every Wednesday. We took a little time off last week and this week, and then we'll be back next Wednesday.
Well, I was really glad to be on your show. Was it last week or 4 days ago? I literally
we don't know what day it is. It's just all day. Everything's just day.
Everything's just day. Ah! Yeah, that's what happened. But it was really awesome. And I really encourage folks to go back and watch that episode of Talk with Tasha, not to hear me talking, because y'all hear me talk all the time, but you brought on two APD officers to talk about what's been going on. And I thought it was some of the most interesting and insightful conversation that I have heard about this topic. And to hear it from officers out there doing the work was pretty amazing. So kudos, Councilmember Harper-Madison, for bringing such great, thoughtful information to your community through your live show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I know Caleb's working on getting that condensed to just that. And so I'll send it over to you. That way you can share it with your folks too. And, I'm taking credit for something I didn't do. Erica Danielle, one of the officers, I remember seeing her out in the community all the time. I mean, people recognize her, they know her, they trust her. And so that concept of community policing, it's like, she's the personification of it. And then Tanya's just, Tanya Jefferson is just she pulls no punches. She tells the truth and she does her job with integrity. And I think we're just fortunate to have officers like that serving on our police department.
I completely agree. So we had our second Public Safety Committee workshop yesterday. And just, we took 2 weeks off of this show. So just to get folks up to speed, there was the big council votes that we took on resolutions, one from me, one from you, one from Councilmember Kassar, one from Mayor Pro Tem Delia Garza. Those all passed unanimously. They were actually co-sponsored unanimously, which was a really historic, unprecedented moment in terms of how City Hall operates. So that was, I think, a good sign. And then after that, part of that action took the Judicial Committee, which I've been sharing that you sit on, and converted it, expanded its purview into public safety. And so we've been having a series of meetings with the public, with officers at the table, with community experts, to start really digging into the detail of what this package of resolutions is calling the city manager to do. We held the first one where we had the manager and the chief and other folks kind of going through every piece. And then the last two workshops was really more of a deep dive. And I thought we did a lot of great work, but I'm curious, Councilmember, if you'd like to provide a little bit of your thoughts to District 6 about what you're seeing as this process has moved forward.
Absolutely. So let me just first say I really appreciate your leadership and, having us convert our Judicial Committee to something that I think is just generally more comprehensive and will put us in a position to just be more successful as we go through this transformation with the department. I think both meetings so far have been great. The first one, I really appreciate the way that you sort of teed it up, right? This is what you can expect moving forward from this body. And I think, I know for a fact, I got some feedback that the general public, general citizenry, they really, really appreciate watching us have this, even when the moments get a little tense, watching us have this emotionally mature, dialogue with law enforcement professionals and members of the community and members of the council. I think that trifecta is exactly what we need, working in concert with one another, working in unison to get where we're trying to go and have everybody understand. That was one of the things that my takeaway, especially after this second meeting, that transparency. Everybody knows what's happening as it happens in real time. And I know folks really appreciate that. So far, so good. Really looking forward to digging into, as we approach the budget discussion, really looking forward to digging into what exactly we intend to do to reach this place of transformation. I think we all recognize that we're on the precipice of big change, really positive big change. And everybody will be better for it. And the community will be served better. Our law enforcement professionals will have better quality of life to actually be able to do the jobs that they signed up for. And those conversations are difficult. Change is a challenge, right? And so I'm really, really grateful that we have this opportunity and that particular format to really flush through all the ideas, all the thoughts, the fears, the concerns. I think it's fantastic.
Well, I'm really interested in obviously thankful for your leadership, your ability to set the tone in a council meeting to represent the challenges that I mean, just by fact, you personally represent. It can't be easy to be the one Black council member. I mean, I don't know how to put a finer point to it. And I have learned so much about how difficult that must be, and ultimately what white people got to do to step up. Like,
Right.
it's not enough just say, hey, Natasha, you're the Black council member. Why don't you solve this for us? That's not how this is going to work. It's just not doable. And I'm really honored to have your trust and your support in being the chair of this committee as we move forward through these challenges.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think you and I have been really strongly in agreement on is the desire to be very methodical and really, seek out the data-driven practices and to ensure that the steps we take are going to work and not be afraid to take the time to make sure they'll work. How do you talk to folks about some of the advocates who have called for rapid change? They make some desires expressed that they want to see stuff happen really, really fast. I talk about that in one way, but I'm curious for you to share how you talk about that with the community.
It really depends on the audience. I think at the end of the day, though, the sentiment is we want to be as intentional and thoughtful and deliberate as possible. It's what we're entering into. We can't enter into lightly, and we certainly can't do so sort of ill prepared. And so I say things along the lines of, and this is where, and especially, all the nice things that people said about you on that intro, they mean it and they trust you. And so this is one of those moments where really having established some degree of trust with your constituents and with the advocates is very important, because to some degree, I have to ask them to understand that even when we are not in 100% agreement, I will always do what I think is best in every situation. And so asking them to offer me the opportunity to receive their grace and their patience, as I, really sort of dig into being deliberate about the process. So I ask for that, respectfully. I also ask for, the understanding that especially coming from a small business background, everything's about planning. Your business plan is not this arbitrary document that sits on a shelf. It's your playbook. And so I really think about it from that perspective, and I'm thinking, like 96 months out, how is what we did today going to affect us then, and then sort of reverse engineer it. And I really try to explain that to folks. If it feels like I'm moving slowly, it's because I am. I'm attempting to be very, very deliberate. That does not, however, indicate somehow that I'm not observing, some of the problematic elements, so you could be an observation of the need for change, but also take your time and be deliberate about establishing sustainable, thoughtful change.
Yeah. And I think if you and I being really close partners in that work, as are some of our colleagues, and at least in this case, I think the entire council can fairly be described as wanting to see this change come. If we do it the right way, it'll stick.
Right.
But if we don't, it might be undone. And, there are elections coming up. I'm on the ballot this November. A few of my colleagues are on the ballot this November. You'll be back up in 2 years. We need the community to stay engaged. We need folks to participate, and not just the regular folks, although we love the regular folks coming to speak. But this is a city of 1 million people, and having one or two folks speaking on everyone's behalf is always a challenge if you're not the duly elected representatives.
Right.
And that's the process we went through in order to be in this position. Councilmember, thank you so much for joining my show today. You do such a great job, and I'm so thankful to have you as a partner in all of this very challenging work that we have to do to make our city a better place for everyone.
The feeling is absolutely mutual. As I take my leave, there was something you said on the intro about folks doing the work. And I just want to take the opportunity to say how much I appreciate you for doing so. But I want to highlight for the folks listening, several months ago, last year, I was a couple months in, and I started asking you to help me to be an active anti-racist and say words like segregation and white supremacy and racism. And you were so responsive. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you, sort of breaking down for me that sometimes folks who care operate in deference to you and really need for you to give them permission to help you. And when I asked you, you showed up, and I really appreciate that very much. So thank you. And I also appreciate this fantastic partnership. And the laughs don't hurt either. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Councilmember. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Bye, guys.
Over there. Yeah, Natasha's been really a wonderful partner, certainly on the policing issues, but kind of on all the things. And it's been a great, it's important that council members are able to work with each other and to find ways to move the right policies forward and to engage all parts of the community. District 6 knows what it means to be left out of a conversation. I'm not even talking about pre-10-1. I'm talking about my predecessor. We know that if you come in too hot, that you end up not being able to get anything done. So I'm glad to have Councilmember Harper-Madison. I'm glad for her and I to be on the same team, as are many of my colleagues. And so it's some really good work. I want to bring up my next guest. We've been doing live music guests at all of our shows, but we have a special treat today. We are getting a live dance performance today. I want to bring on Shruti Anand from Monsoon Dance. Hi, Shruti.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Uh-oh, I don't hear your audio. It's a little delayed. It's okay. It's catching up.
Okay.
How you doing, Shruti?
Doing very, very well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm bunkered up. I'm in my my little broadcast cave in a spare bedroom. It's just a crazy, ridiculous time. You have a dance. That's where you are. You are physically at your dance studio, right?
Yes, I am. It seems to be a very empty space that used to be filled with a lot of people, but it's been empty for the last 3 or 4 months now.
That is such a challenge, and I'm so glad that you and I have been able to stay in communication to try and help your business kind of navigate this very difficult period. Yes. I forgot to mention in the opening that we also launched the small business support program and the nonprofit support program that Councilmember Alter and I co-authored with Councilmember Harper-Madison and Councilmember Ellis. Those applications are now open, so you can apply for those grant dollars, atxrecovers.com, right, as part of our work, try to keep all of our businesses moving forward. But before I talk too much about Monsoon, you have a day job?
Mm-hmm. I do. I'm a full-time electrical engineer, and this is supposed to be a hobby, although it has become more than just a hobby. It's become a mission to connect with the community, give them an experience of Bollywood through dance, fitness, and yoga. And now it's just become my lifeline, really, in these times, especially in these times where it is somewhat the thing that brings me happiness, and not just me, to many of our students who are at home. It's been a source of happiness.
I feel like taking your passion and hobby and turning it into a business is a very Austin story. I've done that twice now. I was a web developer for 20 years, but I started out doing it first like student groups when I was at the University of Texas. Then I turned that into a business. And frankly, politics was a hobby, and now it's my full-time job. So I appreciate that that this is such a beautiful thing to be able to have a passion and then share it with the community. How is Monsoon doing? Like, how are you and your staff and the community that you've built around Monsoon, how are you navigating this crisis?
So I think we had a bit of a learning curve, because at first it sounded like it's we'll be back in just a couple of weeks, and we'll be back next month. But now this is the new normal, as everybody says. And what we've done is launched a lot of virtual programs at this point, virtual programs for parties, where our instructors get onto Zoom lessons with birthday parties, for example. We do online summer camps for kids. That's been great for keeping kids busy. I mean, it used to be 8 hours in the studio in the past, but now it's been 2 hours online. A lot of our classes actually have a live and a virtual component to it all the time. So it allows people, when in doubt for their health, they can switch. They don't have to come to the class. If they're not even feeling just a little bit well, they can take that same class online. So that's the way we are adjusting, retraining. It's been a challenge, certainly, but it's also a great learning experience per se.
Well, it's so great to hear that you all are kind of adapting and trying to do your best, but mostly like keep folks connected. One of the challenges of this whole time is the struggle of isolation and not being able to connect with other people. And you all provide such a great outlet and a service to our community for that. And I don't know if I said Monsoon Dance is located in District 6. You are in the Galleria Oaks Shopping Center. So I'm really proud to have your business and your passion located right in the heart of what I think is maybe the greatest part of town. But we'll just say for the re-election, it's definitely the greatest part of town. Thank you, Shruti, for that. So tell me, you've got a performance lined up for us today.
Yes, we do have a fun performance lined up for you and everybody who's watching. This is going to be our first performance after 4 months. In terms of the performers, we were all masked up till our rehearsal was mainly online. But now we are here, and we are only 4 of us in the studio. 3 of us who are sheltering together, and one other instructor with me. So you'll see us dancing. This is, I think, going to be the new normal, where we see performers getting together and doing online events. We actually have an online event coming up, Parade of India, on August 15th in honor of India's Independence Day. I mean, you've been there many times to me.
I have.
You're also there for our opening, so it was really awesome. But yeah, so we are trying to figure out events in the new normal at this point, and this seems to be the safe way of doing it, keeping it virtual in terms of rehearsals, and performances get presented over the internet, and everybody gets to enjoy it.
Well, I'm excited to see what you guys have put together. Take it away.
Okay. our dancers here just real quick.
Yes.
Miss Naomi, she's my daughter. Roma, and this is our instructor, Teju.
That was amazing. Y'all were so good. That was awesome. That was awesome. And you like the thing that really you knew where the screen was. You did your like entrances and exits knowing where the camera was shooting you. It was so good. That was so good.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Shruti, why don't you tell folks again where they can watch your next online performance?
Well, you can always get all the information on our website, monsoondance.com, on our Facebook page. And the next performance that they're going to see is on August 15th for Parade of India, where it'll be same thing, little groups of people in outdoors. And it's going to be a treat. I promise you that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Everybody stay safe and keep dancing. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was cool. We're going to have to, Kate, who handles the musical guests for the show, is really stepping up her game. We're going to open it up to a whole arts community now. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome. And they are located in District 6 in the Galleria Oaks Shopping Center, Monsoon Dance. Wow. I mean, they were out of breath. I didn't move and I'm out of breath. That was so cool. I want to bring up my last guest. We'll talk a little bit more about criminal justice, but take it one step bigger than the city of Austin. Running for Travis County District Attorney in the runoff. If you have voted early, you can vote early today. Election day for the runoff is on Tuesday. I want to welcome to the show José Garza. Hi, José.
Councilmember Flanagan, it's so good to see you. It's
great to see you too. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Of course. I'm glad to be here. This is such a cool show that you do.
Well, thanks. We have to keep innovating how we engage with the public, how we get good information out, and try to beat back misinformation, because there's certainly a lot of that goes on too. Why don't you tell? So my council district is half Williamson County, right, half Travis County. So not everybody is going to be as familiar with your race. But why don't you, at the very beginning, describe what the DA does?
Absolutely. Well, the district attorney, Councilmember Flanagan, is the most powerful actor in our criminal justice system. Here in Travis County, the district attorney is responsible for all felony criminal cases and for juvenile criminal cases. And the district attorney literally gets to decide who gets charged with what crimes, or if they get charged. So it's an incredibly important position. And you have alluded to it. You've been such an incredible champion for this movement, but there is obviously a movement happening all across our county, all across this region, all across this state, to reform our criminal justice system. And district attorneys play an incredibly important role in determining what kind of criminal justice system we have.
I find that folks feel like they understand cities better because all the stuff that the city does is under the same set of elected officials. You have the mayor and the council, and roughly they're in charge of the things. But the county doesn't work that way. The county has this bizarre distributed network of elected officials. Can you help me understand what the role of the commissioner's court is versus what the role of the DA is?
Absolutely. Well, each play an important role. There are some, overlapping responsibilities, but the district attorney is an independent executive who, as I said, makes decisions about whether people get charged with crimes, who gets charged with crimes, and what crimes they get charged with, and how we use our resources to make sure that our community is safe. That's really the most important job of our district attorney. The district attorney has to do that job in collaboration with a couple of other independent actors, with our county sheriff, who runs the sheriff department and employs sheriff's deputies who enforce the law. Has to do it in collaboration with the county attorney, who has jurisdiction over misdemeanor criminal offenses, and who also serves as the attorney for the commissioner's court. And then the commissioner's court and the county judge get to set the budget for the county, including the district attorney's office. So it's an interwoven set of actors who really influence the way our criminal justice system works in our community.
So what is the crux of the race that you're in right now? You know, we've got it's so confusing for the public to have to do all these elections, and then they got moved around because of the pandemic. This was a Democratic Party primary, county-wide on Travis County side, that there were more than two candidates, and so now we're in a runoff, and that's happening. The final day you can vote is Tuesday. Correct me if I'm getting any of this wrong.
All right.
I had to do a runoff back in 2014. They are not fun. It is very difficult to kind of get people excited and engaged about voting. Although I think we've got some historic primary runoff turnout.
We do.
Is that what you're seeing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, this race has really been going on for more than a year. And it is a race about what kind of criminal justice system we have and what kind of criminal justice system we deserve to have in the most progressive county in the state, in Travis County. You know, what I have been pointing out from the beginning is that our criminal justice system is broken. It's not working for far too many people. And the reality is that it weighs most heavily on working class people, on people of color, on young people, and on women. Here in Travis County, just as you know, an example, 9% of our population is Black, but over 25% of the population of our jail is Black. On any given day in Travis County, over 70% of people sitting in our jail have not even been convicted of a crime. The overwhelming majority are sitting in our jail because they can't afford to pay bail. And not only is that unjust, that we have a system where justice is determined by how much money you make, but it's also a terrible waste of money on the part of the county, of taxpayer money. And it makes us less safe, because when you separate people from their jobs and from their families simply because they can't afford to get out, that creates instability in families, it creates instability in neighborhoods, and that makes us less safe. So these are the issues we've been talking about for over a year. There was an election on March 3rd. I was incredibly grateful to be the top vote getter in that election. But we have a runoff. And as you said, early voting goes until today. Today is the last day to vote early, and then election day is on Tuesday. Turnout has been incredible. And I think it is a sign that the energy that we have seen in the streets for the last 6 weeks is really carrying over, and that people are committed and adamant about making change.
I'm so glad that you brought up the fiscal issue, because you know, for my part of town, for western part of Travis County, it has a very different relationship with the criminal justice system than other parts of the community, which have experienced more of it, just to put it lightly. The work that I've been able to do through the council, chairing the judicial committee, now chairing the public safety committee with Councilmember Harper-Madison and Casar and Mayor Pro Tem Delia Garza, who is running for county attorney.
That's right.
You know, the city has a very unique relationship with the county, because our municipal court judges that the county hires serve as the magistrates that set the bails.
Absolutely.
So it is a tighter relationship than I think happens in other urbanized counties, and it is putting a strain on the taxpayers in both the city and the county on how we run this system. And I've been talking with folks, and I just want to get your last thought on police reform in general, but you know, I've been talking with folks about how, you know, the reform work and the reimagining work, or whatever word you want to use, that we're doing at the city isn't necessarily going to lower the costs at the city. We're going to create new programs, new systems, new public health measures, you know, to help prevent folks from entering into situations that drive crime, as well as, you know, move folks through that system in a fair sense. But the real cost savings happens at the county.
Absolutely.
Because if you do this right, you don't have all those people in jail waiting for trial, because you don't need to have them in jail waiting for trial, innocent before proven guilty at the very least. And now you've got money at the county to do bigger things.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's amazing that we spend in the state of Texas alone almost double the amount of money every year to incarcerate people than we do to educate people. And that's just a really poor investment of our resources because, we know what public safety is. What public safety is a good job. It's access to healthcare. It's the opportunity to innovate and to be an entrepreneur. Those are the things that create stability in communities, and stability creates public safety. And so we have an opportunity in the upcoming budget cycle and in the years to come to really rethink about how we're spending our resources. And I hope begin to spend them in a way that really starts to build stability all across our community, in a way that will make all of our community safe. And I just want to applaud the work that you have done, Councilmember Flanagan, with so many of your colleagues, the way that the city has really led on reform, whether it's in thinking about the way we're spending our money to lock people up who haven't been convicted of a crime, the way that you're thinking about our budgets and making sure that our community can trust our criminal legal system and that our taxpayer money is being used wisely. It's meant a lot to a lot of us across the county and in the city. And I'm just so grateful for your work.
Thank you so much, Jose. Good luck on Tuesday. And in case it isn't clear to anyone watching the show, Jose has my 100% support. Please go, if you haven't already voted, vote for Jose Garza, Travis County DA in the runoff. Also vote for Mayor Pro Tem Delia Garza for County Attorney. Garza and Garza, Garza squared, as I've seen some people say. It's very exciting time. Hopefully we will come out on Tuesday victorious and then have the pleasure of working together, city and county, city and DA, city and county attorney, to do better by our taxpayers, do better by our public, and get criminal justice focused on the justice more than the criminal.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jose. That was a great show. Nice to be back doing the show after a couple of weeks off. Big work happening. Lots more stuff to talk about. City budget is around the corner. Monday, the manager will release his first version of the city budget. It won't have all the things the public is asking for, but it's going to be our next signpost as we work towards reining in the costs of public safety, providing public safety in a way that is the protect and serve and less just responding to crimes and doing enforcement. And we're learning, right? I mean, I get enough calls from folks in District 6 just on traffic that enforcement doesn't solve it. We have to think of new ways and more innovative ways to address these community concerns. And I am honored to have the support of folks like Jose and Councilmember Harper-Madison, but most importantly, my District 6 constituents and all of you who watch the show. Again, I am up for re-election. If you have not yet added your name in support of the re-election, you can go to this URL here, jimmyflanagan.com/support, and stay tuned. We'll be releasing our comprehensive platform of issues and plans for the future very shortly on the website, jimmyflanagan.com. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show. A lot of great comments I'm seeing. I'm going to bring a few of them up because I think that's fun. Great folks. Everyone loves Shruti. Great stuff there. Courtney Santana, Iana, Debbie Russell, Garza Squared. I love that. That's probably enough for today. We're at 45 minutes. Oh, too long of a show. Thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned. Follow the city council work, atxn.tv, where we stream all of our meetings. You can find my city council website, atxd6.org, for all of our policy work. And sign up as a public supporter.